Hi all, this is Erica, aka ECR Horses 1901, and we're back with the third installment of So You're an F-Tier Breyer model horse, and it is C-Star's turn under the microscope. Have I learned to feel affection towards this little guy, or will he be sad in F-Tier forever? Let's find out. As you can tell, C-Star is a character from Marguerite Henry's book, C-Star, Orphan of Chincoteague, from 1949. It is therefore a sequel to 1947's very popular Misty of Chincoteague. The premise for C-Star is that, and I quote, "Movie men have come to Chincoteague to film the annual pony penning, and Paul and Maureen are thrilled, until they learn that the producers want to buy their beloved Misty. Reluctantly, they agree to sell in order to send their uncle to college. But how will they ever fill the lonely place that Misty leaves behind? Finding an orphan colt helps Paul and Maureen deal with their loss, and they soon discover that little C-Star needs them just as much as they need him." This is a total aside, but when I was doing just a little bit of research on this book, I came across a website that is very, very angry with the premise of it. I will link it down in the description because I don't want to get into it in this video. It's been a while since I've read any of these books. In fact, the only one that I own is Stormy, Misty's foal, because obvious reasons, Stormy is my favorite. But apparently, the whole plot of C-Star completely goes against the point of the original Misty book. I don't know, again, I'll link you to the website. I think they perhaps make some good points. If you have any thoughts on the particular matter, if you are more familiar with this series, or if you have read them more recently and also have opinions, I'd really be interested in hearing them. Anyway, like many of Marguerite Henry's books, this one also had iconic illustrations by Wesley Dennis. And so when our boy Chris Hess went to design a mold based off of C-Star, it is apparent that this illustration that you see was a huge inspiration. Now, the illustration itself is fine, at least in my opinion, but somehow, some way, this little colt's charm seemed to have gotten lost in translation. This is the first C-Star mold, aka Marguerite Henry's C-Star, who was a regular run from 1980 through 1987. And also, preparing for this video, I spent some time looking at pictures of real-life pony foals. And what's kind of funny is that the essence of this mold is correct. Alright, foals have very funky proportions. At the same time, I think that perhaps too many liberties have been taken with this particular model, or this particular mold, and it just looks grotesque. I am not surprised that compared to other horses I've looked at in this F-Tier series, which so far has been Nakota and the Shire Mare, C-Star has been used much, much less than either of them. It's almost as though Breyer knew that this one was kind of a mess. So yeah, from the beginning, this model is not too exciting. We have a plain chestnut coat with a variable star. Sometimes it looks more like a star than in other cases. And that's kind of it for those first 7 years. In both 1980 and then 1983 through 1985, C-Star was basically repackaged for JCPenney's holiday catalog as part of a set called Marguerite Henry's Misty, Stormy, and C-Star. It truly was, as you can see on the screen, just all three of these pony molds in a box. So, no visible changes that I can see on any of them or that are noted. I would not be surprised if this had been a popular set though, because of the tie-in to the books. But after 1987, Breyer let the Sea Star mold lay low for a few years, until it was brought back into use for 1991's Chincoteague Foal. This little buckskin was a regular run for just 2 years, so to or through 1993. This is the one that I have, and attempts were made at making him more exciting with, for example, if you can tell, there is some barring above the legs. You can see it better in the picture that's on the screen, but otherwise, there is nothing else that special to this guy. I mean, the only other thing I can think, it's kind of hard to tell what their intention was, is that maybe there were efforts towards shading on the kind of neck and shoulder area. Again, you can also see it on the picture that's on the screen. I don't know, it just kind of makes him look a little bit dirty rather than truly shaded. The Chincoteague pony was immediately replaced with Scribbles Paint Horse Foal, a 1994 through 1995 regular run. I mean, at least the colorway adds a little bit of something to look at. That's the best I can say for it. Well, be that as it may, 1995 was a banner year for Sea Star, because not only was he still in regular run as Scribbles, but he was part of 2 special runs. First, he appeared with the classic scale Kelso as Geronimo and Cochise. This was part of Toys R Us's Medallion series of Breyers, and was limited to 4,300 sets. This colorway is probably the best that we have seen on Sea Star so far. A Mahogany Bay Sea Star was also a Breyerfest live auction that year for the mold's first and last time, at least as its own freestanding only Sea Star lot. We do not, unfortunately, have any pictures of this model, but he sold for a not bad price that year, $475, which by the way is just so laughable for an auction price nowadays. I wish. There were definitely other auction lots which sold in the $300 or even $200 range, so well done, Sea Star. The mold had a brief rest during 1996, but was back as yet another regular run from 1997 to 1998 as Surefire Pinto Foal. The completely flat black paint job does not help, although I technically like the minimal Tobiano pattern. The description on Identifier Breyer notes that this is a brown-black coat color with a brown-black mane and tail, so maybe it was more dynamic in person, but you definitely don't really get that through the pictures that we can find of him online. Worth noting, this is the last time that we will see the Sea Star mold sold by himself. Sea Star hopped directly into a different regular run set, Grazing Mare and Foal from 1998 through 1999. This picture is the one that absolutely slayed me the first time that I saw it. And again, I beg of you, if you block off its back end, alright, just look at it from the withers on forward, I still cannot with this particular model. The mare is kind of nice though, it's a real shame about the foal. Well, after many years of consistent use, the Sea Star mold was put on hiatus for nearly a decade. He returned in 2006 as part of the Pony Family gift set. As you can see, he is with a Misty and a Halflinger model, and you can definitely tell the strides that Breyer made within that bunch of years as far as painting and details are concerned. The Sea Star mold is still a mess. It will never not be, but you can feel as though an effort was made to make him look nice, at least as nice as possible, with some shading details and even a dorsal stripe and again zebra striping on the legs, although a little bit more clear and just more well done here. This set was a regular run through 2008. After sitting out 2009, Seastar returned as part of this charming playset, the Pony Picnic gift set from 2010 through 2011. The Palomino colorway suits him here, and you know, who wouldn't want to go on a picnic with a foal, a model horse, and some movie theater popcorn? Sounds like a good time to me. The most recent, and at this point in time, final regular run usage for Seastar was in 2019's Cascade and Caspian set. This is Seastar's first and only time as a unicorn, along with this lovely Connemara mare model. I don't have much to add. I personally would have liked to see a Stormy with this colorway and as a unicorn, because why hasn't the Stormy mold been used for a unicorn? Am I gonna need to learn how to make this myself? Because I really don't want to. Well, stay tuned for that adventure, I guess. Speaking of Stormy, also in 2019, Stormy, Seastar, and Misty all appeared as one Breyerfest live auction lot. Seastar, you can tell, was a light chestnut Tobiano, and again, you know what? It's nice. Having a good quality paint job helps this mold a lot. The trio sold for $4,000, which was low-ish, although a few lots did sell in the $2,000 or even $1,000 range. All things considered, not too bad. Seastar's final appearance to date was earlier this year, 2024, at the Spokes and Spurs event in Oklahoma City. He was part of the Biscuits and Gravy set along with Misty, and the set was limited to just 40 pieces. I like Misty a lot here, but this version of Seastar is just okay. They were the most expensive of the special runs at this event because of being a pair, so they were priced at $265. At the same time, they were the special run with the lowest number, save only for the 25-piece table centerpiece Route 66. Would I have sprung for them? I can appreciate a good Misty, but I don't know. And that is where Seastar's story ends, at least for now. I would not be surprised if he returns in more playsets, because, and I think I've said this in other videos, Breyer may as well use some of these not as conformationally sound models in sets aimed for children. Because yes, while those of us who are into showing are gonna be like, oh, conformation is awful, what am I supposed to show this as? I can't show it as anything. There's also going to be a lot of people buying Breyers who do not care. At the same time, the past few years have given us some really great new foal molds, such as the Vanner foal, the Walking Quarter Horse foal, and Firestorm, the Mustang foal, among several others. So that begs the question, at least for me, is it time to retire Seastar? Or is that heresy? I know if someone said they were retiring the Stormy mold, we'd have some problems. I do think that given the plethora of new, better full models, if I were going to choose a different mold to recast Seastar, so to speak, I would personally go with the Welsh foal, this little guy. I mean, picture this mold with Seastar's chestnut colorway and original markings. I'd be here for that. So where does that leave Seastar? Is it still an F-tier mold, or have I grown more fond of him, as I did with the previous Shire Mare and Nakota? Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, Seastar is going to stay in F tier. I just genuinely do not care for this mold. I can appreciate his place in Breyer history, certainly can appreciate their models that were made to depict Marguerite Henry's horses, but I would not care if I never got another one of these guys, and in fact, he is going down in the basement as soon as I finish making this video. Sorry, C-Star, that's life sometimes. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, I hope that you will consider liking and or subscribing if you haven't already. What do you think about C-Star? Is he a charming vintage model, an equine abomination, or somewhere in the middle? I want to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave me a comment. That's all for this week, and I will see you next time.